My angel returns. I have news. It seems there's been a change on high in the Order. My case is to be re-evaluated. Rumor has it that Lord Kim himself was in league with the Black Ring. The late Lord Kim, that is. I'm shocked and surprised. And also rather relieved. This rather throws my own case into a different light. All going well, I'll be out of here soon.
Stay back. It's for your own good. Found the undead freak here already chained up by the Magisters. They say she's a witch. I say...
Her voice freezes into a harsh whisper.
I say she's a demon. Creatures like this Wendigo. They mask themselves, spread their black magic to children with their songs and stories. Makes me sick. Our little ones, tools of demons. You know this trickster? Well, go on then. Probably doesn't matter who breaks her, so long as she gets broken. Just keep your head on straight. She'll try to make nice. Creep into your thoughts. Keep her out of there, all right?
Give me room! I feel a breakthrough approaching.
She cradles her head in her hands, then pivots towards the prisoner. Her mouth opens, yet nothing spills forth. No sermon, no screed, no threat. She turns back to you and grimaces.
Too late! The spark's been snuffed. I trust you come bearing gold or godhood for me, to have interrupted such a sensitive interrogation. The Magisters can quiet the songs of Source using their collars and cages. I would normally call it a cruelty. But this Wendigo thing, she must be contained. We found her here, already imprisoned, cursing the Magisters with hexes vulgar enough to turn even a dwarf's cheeks red. The evil is strong in her. Her words are soaked in it. They squirm into your mind, planting warm memories you've never had, mesmerizing you with candy-sweet sights and scents.
Visions of Wendigo's attack on the vessel sailing to Fort Joy fill your head. You look to the cell, and your memories contort and coil. Wendigo cradles you in her arms, stroking your head as the waves crash around you. I'm sorry, Buttercup. I was bewitched by his promise. Forgive me. You shake your head and the vision is gone. Your eyes rest not on the prisoner, but on the paladin.
You underestimate her. You'd have me stand idle as she raises arcs to the ground?
In that moment, you hear music, a lullaby. You glance at the cage. Wendigo stands silent. You squint and shiver until the melody no longer echoes in your ears.
I understand. Perhaps you are as dangerous to her as she is to us. There can be no success without risk. I will give you the space you need, then. May Lucian be your guide.
You step up to the cell to look at the skeleton you know to be Wendigo. The barrier mutes her source, but it isn't her source you fear, but something more, a shadow. She says nothing, but you still hear her words.
An unexpected pleasure. For both of us, I'm sure.
She looks to the nearby device, and an urge engulfs you. An urge to power down the device to release Wendigo from her cell. Her mouth remains closed, yet her voice settles in your mind like a damp fog.
There are others, his chosen, yet I am no longer among them. They seek what you seek. The hammer. I am ready to share what I know. The God King rejoices as long as I am chained. Free me, and we might hobble him.
The voice is gone. Wendigo is still. You reach your hand towards the device, and your inner source is stifled, as if you'd never rid yourself of that cursed collar. After a bit of tinkering, the machine whines pitifully, and the shield surrounding the cell flickers off. She steps forward, slowly but confidently. She holds out her hands, bony palms up. They emit no fire, no ice, no curse.
The God King no longer grants me his favor. Mask ripped from me and flesh flayed to bone, because the Godwoken still walks Rivellon. Now he's chosen another. I should hate you for what you've done to me, hate you for the hell I've lived. But I hate him so much more. He loved me when I was useful. He cast me out when you failed to die. Go to the new Chosen. See that he suffers. See that the God King suffers. In your name and in mine. The Covenant, it sounded so beautiful. Eternity right there at my fingertips. Yet it's all a lie. There is no grand reward, no enduring prosperity. Just slavery within the void. The rule of a hellish hand. I was so naive. The God King told me I was special. He came close, and then closer still. Hearing him, feeling him, it was like crashing over a cliff and having him catch me over and over. I failed him. You just wouldn't die. Of all his punishments, the harshest was the emptiness, the lack of him. I thought if I could just regain his affection, I might taste it again. Linderkem, the God King's current beloved. No more skin in his real bones than on a peeled jackfruit. And it is not only his ear the God King whispers into. The dwarf called Isbel. She bends to the king's every whim. If you want to get to the God King, you go through Linderkem. You topple his Tower of Lies. The God King. He said if I could find Dallas, eliminate her, I could take my place by his side again. But Kem, he doesn't like competition. All it took was a few whispers. They spread to the Magisters quickly. The Magisters, they've got ways of silencing Source. They knew exactly what to do. The Paladins, well, when they found me, they'd no idea what to make of me. No, the God King's special boy. You're certain? For some of us, death is merely a temporary snag. Yes, I see it in you. You are certain. Then that makes my next step all the simpler. Yes, her. Oh, let me see if I can work up some grief over the news.
A moment passes.
No! Goodness, how could I not? Her work on Black Peak Isle is legendary, or so she told it at least. The king has an eye for the arrogant. They make such valuable stewards as they clamour for his favour, as I well know. The God King. He said if I could find Dallas, eliminate her, I could take my place by his side again. But Kem, he doesn't like competition. All it took was a few whispers. They spread to the Magisters quickly. The Magisters, they've got ways of silencing Source. They knew exactly what to do. The Paladins, well, when they found me, they'd no idea what to make of me. As must I. I'm going to Kem, or rather his estate. There's a Swornbreaker scroll there. It'll free me from the Covenant. I'd be mortal, yes, but no longer a slave.
This creature, this monster, would have seen us drowned at sea. Kill her!
If the God King has truly abandoned her, then this is our chance to slay her once and for all.
Wendigo has done nothing before to earn my trust. This changes nothing.
Consider me moved, Godwoken. Your mercy is boundless. Before I leave you, I have something for you. Something I learned. A touch of void, if you will. And now I break his shackles and end this misery. No goodbye has ever been sweeter.
Windigo's bones clatter to the floor. She is free to enter the hall, free of the God King's shackles. You hear a voice echoing within you, Windigo's voice.
I am me, and only me. The next move is yours, Godwoken.
Tell Lord Kem that we won't let this lie. 564 prisoners! 564! We can't let it lie!
Her jaw drops. She struggles to process the news.
You saw this with your own eyes? I see it in you. You did. This is abhorrent. Outrageous! Evil. Dallis and her whites, they must be involved. This cruelty, this disregard for life's spark. It is the mark not just of the Black Ring, but of the Hammer. You've done the Paladins a great service. The better we understand the ways of the whites, the closer we come to ending their horrors.
She bows to you in farewell.
Come on, damn you. Stop bleeding!
The Paladin presses a wad of fresh bandages upon a steadily bleeding leg wound. For a moment, it seems to work, but then the bleeding suddenly gets worse.
Damn it! My thanks. This is just what I need.
The potion takes effect, but then your ear catches the faintest sound of angry whispers, and the bleeding suddenly intensifies. The Paladin claps her hand over the wound in an effort to stem the flow of blood.
What's going on? It looks like it's nearly stopped. Then it just starts again. One of the Magisters didn't know when he was beaten. Drove a spear into my knee. He should have aimed higher, though. I didn't give him a chance to land a second blow.
The spirit of a Magister jabs a spectral finger into the Paladin's wound, while muttering some profane-sounding curse.
I'll do as I please. This Paladin filth hacked me down right here in our headquarters. She's going to suffer for what she did to me.
The spirit thinks for a moment, then moves back from the Paladin.
Very well. I am done with this world.
The wound's closed over. Thank you. Here, I found this on one of the Magisters. It looks valuable. Take it, with my thanks.
Awful day for it, don't you think?
The dwarf glances at Ifan, pulls you close and whispers.
The Silverclaw's blade is clearly dulled. But you look like a man of action. A doer of deeds. And I have a matter of some urgency I'd ask you to attend to. My new father-in-law, Mikhail Ross, must die, and you must retrieve his will. I will not prescribe the methods you use, but I shall insist on your discretion. Now, tell me, what payment do you require for this service? What is your price?
The dwarf's hand flies to his mouth in a none too convincing display.
Murder? I suggested no such thing. Now get out of my sight and stop wasting my damn time.
She looks right through you, face slack with grief. She stares at you in horror. You think you see that strange pink tint in her eyes fade a little.
What? No, that's not true. That's impossible.
Her eye twitches and her mouth moves silently, but aggressively. It almost looks as if she's having an argument with herself. When she looks up at you again, the pink tint has cleared completely from her eyes.
How could he? How could he? I have to go. I must speak to my father.
You here to do Dorian's dirty work? Figured it wouldn't be long before you showed up. I tell you what, you seem an honourable sort. See Dorian dead and I will meet his offer.
All right, fine.
Believe me when I say you'll be well rewarded. I suppose I can afford it better than I can afford an enemy at this particular moment. Kill the rat and be quick about it. I don't have the luxury of time. Is it done? He's probably run off to that house of his, over by the barracks. Yes? Really? Whew, this is amazing news. But what of the Queen? What's been going on? Is she safe? Then she is safe, thank Duna's bushy bristles. I will attend to her as soon as I can. It burdens my heart, truly, but I must say farewell now. Take this, a good reward for good decisions.
Mikhail returns to his boxes and sacks, though he no longer places items in them, but removes them.
You? Again? I should hate to spoil your fun, but this will not be as easy as you might think.
The dwarf grins as he lifts a flap of cloth to reveal a string of grenades around his waist.
How could my husband do such a thing? I loved him!
Tears fill her eyes as she bites her lip to hold back sobs.
This is the worst day of my life.
She slumps in her seat, looking even more miserable and dejected than ever. She nods sadly, gaze dropping to the carpet.
Is it done? Oh, yes? Well, I certainly could use some good news amongst the bad. I am a man of my word. Here is the payment promised, and extra besides. You've done right by me. For that, I'm grateful.
Ifan cocks an eyebrow and smiles at you warmly.
Everybody in life makes choices. I'm tired of doing what others want me to do. I'm choosing to go a different way now. I've made mistakes, and compounded them. But now there's a chance to make amends, and I intend to seize it. After we tear Divinity off its pedestal, and we spread its powers to the people, like the fresh green shoots that push through the earth after a forest fire. Maybe what those shoots grow into will be better than the weeds they're replacing. Can't be worse. Aye. A change is as good as a rest. That's what Mother Melody used to tell me.
You're positively haunting me with your presence of late. Something I can help you with? Held captive? By Kem? Are you certain? Then I was right to sequester myself here with my puppets. Trusting people is a folly. But it seems that you are to enter the tomb of the divine, and I am to help you get there. So be it. In order to pass the first chamber, you'll need an amulet that's charged with source. 5 souls worth, to be precise. Here, take this amulet and fill it with source. When you've done that, return to me and I'll tell you what must be done next. You must wear the amulet as you consume source. The excess power will be siphoned into it until it is full. Good luck. You may need it. Greetings. I trust that the item I gave you is having the desired effect. A beautiful piece, isn't it? Have you charged it yet? Fully charged, you say? That would mean that 5 souls have been... Actually, I'd rather not dwell on exactly how you charged the device. On to the next matter. You'll need the Scroll of Atonement. It's locked in my desk on the 2nd floor. The password is Giora. When you have both the charged amulet and the scroll, go to the Path of Blood. On the left side of the chamber, on a pillar near Lucian's statue, you should see a hidden mechanism. It will clear the way. Good luck. You may need it.
Papa's permission granted. You may pass, friend, and...
The puppet's words choke off. It spasms and flares with sauce. Then it is still once more, and a different voice emerges from within.
You have hampered me long enough. This place will be your tomb, the only one you shall enter.
I believe I've told you all that you required. Was there something else?
What? There must be some mistake. They're just toys now. They wouldn't hurt a fly, unless I wanted them to. I'll look into the matter. A misunderstanding, I'm sure.
The man glowers from under his hood. You can't see his eyes, but you know they are trained on you.
They call you a slayer of giants. If you strike from the shadows as effectively as you strike in the light, you may find my supplies invaluable. False modesty, eh? I like it. Better than the paladin's unmerited pride. The folks here were safer in the Magister's hands. It's up to me to make sure citizens can stay out of sight and out of mind. Pilgrims, revellers, with every one of their cheers and prayers they draw wicked eyes. The publicly faithful are easy targets. In Arx, strength is found only in silence.
Welcome to Arx, stranger. Care to see a trick? Well, it looks like you have a few of your own talents to share. The old gags are such delights, aren't they? I deal in the more arcane sort of magic, but there's also some magic in a little sleight of hand and a wide smile, as well you know. Unhappy? Yes. They've been scattered by fog and wind to every corner of the world, and like most elves, these ones wait for something, someone. I suspect they pray for a salvation that may or may not arrive. As for me...
He waves his palm through the air. A trail of multicoloured smoke trails behind it to form a hazy rainbow. He then blows into the rainbow, and it dissipates into a dozen formless wisps.
I create my own happiness.
The elf raises her head and peers down her nose at you.
This is a place for scholarly pursuits. You do not look the scholarly sort. You carry enough weapons and sundries to burden an over-muscled ox. And like most armoured humans in Arx, your pursuits are not likely intellectual. Hardly. I cry for peace. They yearn for war. They stray from civilized thought, ignore the lessons and memories of the fallen. Strife does not unite us. It scatters us. I tell them, yet they do not hear.
Sabile's voice sounds from over your shoulder.
I would speak with Sahela, my kin. Thank you.
Sabile, it gives me joy to see you. You continue to become the great scion. This is good, for we stand on the edge of the abyss. Are you prepared for the coming war? The mother is dead, and we are free of her terrible plan. The age of the mother is over. The shackles of the past are broken. We shall take our rightful place in the new world. War is coming. We shall harrow the earth with the blood of humans, lizards and dwarves, and from it a new forest shall grow. It gives me joy to see you, Sabile.
Sahela keeps her expression carefully blank. Sabile turns away. She looks troubled.
Isn't it obvious? She's insane. There's an air about this place. Something sinister just below the surface. I think she's a madwoman. She was there in Fort Joy, and she's here still in Arx. Yet what does she speak of after all she's been through? Nothing but death and domination. She has learned nothing, but I have. Live and let live, I say. Thus endeth the lesson. Last I heard, godhood awaits, if only we can wrest it from Dallas. First, we find her. Then, we roll for the greatest fate of them all.
Hey, everything okay?
Which part?
Who could look at all those people and destroy them without a second thought? Apart from Malady, of course. I know I crossed a line, but it wasn't a line between good and bad. It was a line between knowing and not knowing. I would have preferred not to know. How dark the night can get. How close you can stand at the edge of oblivion and feel nothing. But I did what I had to do, and I'd do it again. As for the rest of the realm's demons, well, what is it they say? The first cut slices the deepest. Once this one scabs over, I'll be ready to hunt out the rest of them, wherever they're hiding. Maybe it's just that, an ambition. Maybe when it comes right down to it, I'll get in front of a crowd again and forget everything I saw here. I never saw myself as a hero, but then again, maybe I never really saw myself before. May as well get to it then.
Lucian's blessings to you, stranger. I am Sister Avony, the head priestess of the cathedral. Lord Ahu is the keeper of the cathedral. His duties are select. Only he can approach the remains of the divine, for instance.
When the Voidwoken attacked, we hid pilgrims and priests alike in our quarters. All survived, I'm glad to say. But if Dallis had arrived during that time, no one would have seen her pass by. Yet without Lord Ahu's cooperation, she would have to pass the Path of Blood to gain access. And thus far, no one has survived the attempt.
She gasps, then bows her head to you in respect.
Divine blessings upon you. We shall always be grateful. Today! Another time, perhaps. Next week or next month? If you leave a name and address, I'll see what I can arrange. But today is Lucian's day, and Ahu must give counsel to the lost. He cannot be disturbed. Lord Ahu is deep in prayer and is unlikely to answer a knock at his door, no matter who knocks, or how hard.
Very well. Here is the key to Lord Ahu's quarters.
Lord Kem has posted a few guards by Ahu's door. Show them the key. They shouldn't bother you after that.
Please do not betray my trust in you. Lord Ahu will be most upset if his privacy is disturbed.
My child, it shall be my pleasure to assuage your worries, if I can. Such tragedy, such pain, so many avoidable deaths at a time when we should fight united against the Voidwoken. But the Magisters brought their destruction on themselves. They departed from the rightful path of the divine. Lord Kem showed them the path to the light, but alas, they cast their lot with the God King. Of this I have no doubt. These are perilous times. Of course you feel fear. Even in the cathedral, which was designed by the best engineers under the supervision of Lord Ahu himself, in order to bring the faithful closer to their divine. The east and west chapels contain the most breathtaking art, by the finest artists. Lucian and the seven before him are represented most faithfully. Perhaps a meditation in their presence would soothe you. Or perhaps in the cool interior you may join the endless prayer. Give your power to the divine, that you too may be empowered. I promise you will feel fulfilled. Of course, there is the terrible justice of the Path of Blood. Gruesome, perhaps. Demanding, definitely. But those who take the path demonstrate the truest of true faith. Their purity will surely be rewarded, as will yours. Not until Lucian rises again in answer. The prayer will remain ceaseless until the day of his resurrection. The divine will light our way again. My child, there is no shame in fearing the Path of Blood. Only those who believe themselves free from sin should attempt it. And of those few, there are fewer still who are truly pure. If you are truly free of sin, take the path. If you survive, you will have achieved something great. If not, well, you have given your life to a noble cause, and few will find such purpose in death. This building, This edifice of grace and beauty was the result of Ahu's vision, the hard work of many women and men, as was the Path of Blood. It is by far Sander's greatest achievement. He was one of the engineers, you know. Brilliant fellow. I suspect the strain left him broken. He makes toys now. A waste of his genius, but a great gift to the children of Arx.
The man before you shakes and twitches. His eyes dart nervously from your hands to your feet and back again.
I'm no soldier, no sir, not no more. I took off my uniform years ago, but I still have nightmares of what we did to the elves. Maybe if I walk the path, maybe Lucian will grant me peace.
His skittish eyes meet your own for just a moment. They are like windows to a vast and endless pain. He pulls his gaze away, down to the dirt.
Lucian spoke of absolution for all. I must...
His trembling hands wind and twine around each other like anxious snakes as he stares right through you, muttering one phrase over and over again.
Lucian, Lucian. Oh, my divine lord, please absolve me.
Do you grieve also? My dearest brother Matrico died last year. I journeyed here to pray to Lucian to care for his spirit. May you feel solace here near the remains of the divine. I know I feel closer to my brother here, where he died on the Path of Blood.
The pilgrim shakes her head sadly before turning away and returning to her solitary prayers.
Lord Ahu was returned. Thank the gods! I haven't seen the likes of her the whole time I've been stationed here. And I think it's fair to say I'd remember if I did. You may proceed. Thank you. We owe you a great debt.
God woken, you return. Many obstacles lie between the Path of Blood and the resting place of the divine. I can only help with one, the Death Room. It is a room of many levers. 5 will lead you closer to your goal. The rest will lead you to your death. Each lever is named for a virtue of the divine. Find the levers whose initials spell the word power. Select these 5 and these alone. My dear, we all have questions. Sometimes we may even get answers. In my time, I've worn many hats, many of them pointed. I've been a scholar, an engineer of sorts, a protector of towns and villages, a thief, a lover. For one particularly memorable period of time, I was a cat. Those were the days. But through it all, I've been what you might know as a wizard. All these long years I have worked to maintain balance in the world. Lately, that has seen me at the service of Lucian. But this is just one way to tell my tale. There are many versions of Ahu through the ages. My body, or bodies as it happens, age. But my spirit does not decay. Shall I go on? It may sound stupid, given the world in which we find ourselves, but I strive for balance, and a realm in which all creatures can feel safe and free of terror. Hence my alliance with Lucian. I have lowered my aspirations somewhat in recent centuries, I admit. Now I'd settle for the world staying out of the void. Amazing how your priorities change over time. I knew Lucian would defend Rivellon from oblivion. I thought he would be equal to the task and easily succeed. It seems I may have been wrong.
Hello? Hey, have you got my ball? Smelly person threw my ball away and I couldn't go fetch. Threw it off the balcony, and I couldn't find it. But then Master Ahu came back, so that's nice. I love Master Ahu. Friend of Master's, Used to smell old. Now he smells rotten. And he's mean. Threw my ball away. Smelly man threw my ball away and now I'm sad. It's my ball, and I love my ball. Hello? Oh, fantastic! Yeah, but Master Ahu went away with the smelly man, and then he came back. He smelled like the front of a flower shop and the back of a butcher's, like he was using flowers to hide the rot. And his clothes smelled of Louis. Louis's my friend.
Greetings. Have you come to join us in the endless prayer? Or do you wish to walk the path of blood? Lucian's day wouldn't be the same without the faithful gathering to petition for his return. The more voices that join our cry, the better. Ah, the path of blood is a more advanced form of pilgrimage. I would not advise it unless you believe yourself to be free from sin. And trust me, none are free from sin. The path of blood ends in death for those who attempt it. Consider yourself warned. It was Lord Ahu's creation. He is the crypt's keeper, of course, and oversaw the construction himself. He couldn't have done it without the help of Sanders, though. Quite a talent for engineering, that one. Spends most of his time tinkering with toys nowadays. Such a pity. But that's the price you pay for genius, I suppose. The signs suggest that if we pray hard enough, Lucian will return to save us. Every year we gather to offer our prayers in his name. We stand united, hoping that he will favor us once more.
The bewildered ghost stares at her own dead corpse. A single thought emanates from her spirit, that I was pure. You are pious and good-hearted. You have never struck another, nor have you taken what is not yours, nor have you known the pleasures of the flesh. You are, by any measure, as pure as the blizzard-driven snow. But your mind, you suspect, is not. You lust for the man who lives next door. You covet his wife's fine dresses. You push these thoughts away, for you would run the path of blood, and for that you must be pure. To win, you must be pure. And in that moment you understand your desire to win is what makes you impure. The paradox makes you smile. All your life was for nothing. You fade away. There's a curious-looking panel discreetly nestled upon the wall. Upon it is a lone button. There's a slot in the center of the button. It looks like something should be placed in it. The amulet fits the slot perfectly. The mechanisms around it begin to glow with source. The button slowly sinks into the wall, as if pushed by an invisible hand. The source fades from the amulet, consumed by the inner mechanisms of the button. Gears turn behind the ancient walls, almost like they're acknowledging the words you spoke. A nearby hatch in the floor unseals itself.
Venture no farther. Only death lies beyond. Blood need not be spilled. Bones need not be broken. Preserve thyself and flee. To cross this threshold is to plunge into thy grave. Do not decide in haste. Very well. Embrace thy fate.
You catch a glimpse of Ifan out of the corner of your eye. He's standing tall, gazing around the environment with a feral expression on his face. He reaches his arms overhead, stretching his lean frame. Not for the first time, you wonder how anyone's expected to concentrate on what they're doing with this man hanging around, exuding raw energy. He catches you looking at him and smiles, all tangled beard and twinkling eyes. Surprised at first, he quickly responds to your touch, pulling you close and holding your face in his scarred hands.
My darling, you really brought some mess into my life, and I've loved it. And you.
Ifan holds you so close that you feel you are part of him. He kisses your eyelids, your temples, your nose. He kisses you tenderly, exploring you with his tongue. Before he pulls away, he squeezes tighter, lifting you from the ground so you feel weightless.
Damn, the end of Divinity can't come soon enough for me. I'm ready to live a human life.
You reach for your weapon, but as the small Voidwoken skitters forward, you get the sense that it's not here to fight. It looks at Fane, clicking and chittering in excitement, and introduces itself. Fane starts in shock. He knows it. The Voidwoken was a colleague from Fane's days at the Academy, his assistant. It claims it knows how to save the Eternals. It promises Fane that if he can snatch the powers of the Seven, then he can restore his people. Not under the rule of the God King or the Void, they would finally be free. Fane turns away, pensive and quiet. Even as a skull, you can see the pain etched into his face.
Do you know, this Ark's place doesn't look half bad. Important does not do it justice. She tells me there is a way to save my people. The power of Divinity could bring them back. Not as monsters, but restored to their former glory. I could have my old life again. That issue is not as pressing as you might imagine. The Eternals cannot be eternal without the source your god stole from them. No, if they return, they will reclaim their source. The source that was used to create you. If the Eternals come home to this world, we will live in it as your masters. You will be our slaves at best, our food at worst. I'm not sure. I need to think about this. It's just, they're my people. Although, well, so are you. I'm sorry. I can't talk about this right now.